Good evening, everyone. The executive session of the Wayne Board of Education Public Works session, February 9th, 2023, is convened in the conference room of the Wayne Board of Education, 15 Nellis Drive, Wayne, New Jersey. The statement of compliance setting forth date, time, and location is read in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act, and roll call is taken. The meeting was recessed. It is now being reconvened. I ask everyone to please stand for the flag salute and moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Dr. Toba?
Okay, so just have a few things to report under my administrative summary report. This week is National School Counseling Week, sponsored by the American School Counselor Association. It's a week set aside to focus public attention on the unique contributions of professional school counselors in U.S. school systems and how students are different as a result of what counselors do. National School Counseling Week highlights the tremendous impact school counselors can have helping students achieve success and plan for a career. The Board of Ed is recognizing our counselors through a resolution tonight, Emergent Administrative Item R2, which is a proclamation for National Schools Counseling Week and reads as follows. Resolved that the Wayne Board of Education recognizes February 6th to 10th, 2023 as National School Counseling Week, where school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their potential, and where school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents, as these traits relate to career awareness and development, and where school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children, and where school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves, and whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society, and whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Therefore, we, the Wayne Board of Education, do hereby recognize February 6th to 10th, 2023 as National School Counseling Week. At this point, what I'd like to do is turn things over to Mrs. Reichman to provide the board with a Start Strong assessment update.
Sure. In the fall, we had a district presentation to share the results of the New Jersey Department of Education standardized tests and local benchmark assessments. At that time, you might recall we only had preliminary data from the Start Strong assessment, which was administered around the opening dates of school in the fall of 22. We now have the full report. So my update tonight is to share insights from the completed report from the New Jersey Start Strong assessment. The test is designed to allow for shortened testing time, and it was really to give immediate results about lost and unfinished learning from the pandemic. So it's not something that will be continued, but it was intended to be used differently from the NJ SLA, New Jersey Student Learning Assessments, that we give annually in the spring. And also just to make inferences about student proficiency, we use the data to understand and inform our MTSS goal, which is our intervention programs that we have in place. So what we did was we looked back at the full results, and then we looked at all of the interventions that we put in place, benchmark assessments, programs, before, after school tutoring, iReady, we used Get benchmark assessments, and we were able to glean some new things. So what I wanted to do tonight was share the notable achievements, because it's always good to share good news. For our grade 4 math and algebra 1 students, the percentage of students needing strong support, which is the greatest amount of support, that's what lights up in red, significantly decreased. So that was really good news. For math in grades 4 to 7 and algebra 2, fewer students within these cohorts needed strong support. In English Language Arts, grade 5 and grade 10, fewer students within these cohorts needed strong support. Science, grade 6, the percentage of students needing strong support decreased. We've also seen consistent performance in all of their grades and subjects, so everything going in this direction. And at this point, we're going to continue with our intervention strategies. We have coaches in certain grades. We've been working with the company successfully. We intend to keep this as a multi-year goal because we are seeing the achievement gaps closing. We'll continue with summer intervention programs, and we'll maintain at the middle school. We have interventions in place for ELA and math after school. We have before school programs. All those will be maintained this year and next year. That concludes my report.
So board members, you have a copy of the presentation with the complete results. That will also be posted on our district's website for the public to review tomorrow. So just a quick update. Earlier this school year, parents were provided with the opportunity to opt their children out of certain health lessons. At the elementary level, all the reference lessons are scheduled to be taught in the third trimester, which begins in March. As a reminder, if you still wish to opt your child out of lessons, you may do so by going to the district website, navigating the central office, under curriculum instruction. From there, you can review the comprehensive health and physical education curriculum guides, as well as access the opt-out form. An update on the 8th grade Baltimore trip. Registration for the 8th grade Baltimore trip was closed on February 3rd. The current number of students that registered include 117 students at Anthony Wayne, 130 students at George Washington, and 142 students at Schuyler Colfax. So a small increase since I last reported. This equates to 63% of our district-wide 8th grade students that will be attending the trip. On Monday, February 13th, we'll have the finalized costs for all students. At this time, we do not know if the price will increase, being that we did not reach the required number of students per school as stated by the tour company. In regard to next year's trip, we're working with the tour company to determine costs for a 2-night trip to Washington, D.C., an overnight trip to Gettysburg and Hershey Park, and a 1-day trip to a day camp. We will then provide this information to the current 7th grade parents and students and conduct a survey to see what option is preferred. For the HIV report, there have been 27 incidents of HIV investigated since my last report, and 9 of these cases were deemed to meet the criteria of an HIV incident.
Mr. Moffett, revisions to the agenda.
You tonight, under J, approval of minutes. We've revised number 3, approval of public meeting minutes. We've revised and expanded administrative summary report and HIP report on the January 12, 2023 minutes as attached. Under emergent T, human resources, under item number 5, approval of district staff for 2022-2023. Number 7 is revised name from Charlotte Serpa to Charlotte Bannon-Serpa. We'll also add in the same section, which is emergent human resources, adding a number 17, approval of leave. That reads as follows: resolve that the Board of Education is placing employee ID number 9340 on leave with pay effective February 10, 2023, pending investigation and further board action. Moving on to section X, emergent school resource legal. We will be adding 2 items. First is approval of sidebar agreement. Action reads as follows: the Wayne Township Board of Education approves sidebar agreement regarding program lead professionals with the Wayne Paraprofessional Association dated January 24, 2023. The board president and the board secretary are authorized to execute appropriate documentation to implement same and attached by reference. Adding number 2, approval of settlement agreement and general lease. Its recommended action reads as follows: resolve that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, hereby approves the settlement agreement and general lease dated January 11, 2023 in the matter of student ID number 3482480-751, AOL docket number EDS 06920-2022, agency reference number 2023-34691, and student ID number 14127830009, AOL docket number EDS 06921-2022, agency reference number 2023-34691, 34692 as attached by reference, and further authorizes the board president and secretary to execute same on behalf of the board. The business administrator and superintendent are authorized to take further steps required by terms of the settlement to further implement same. That concludes the revisions to tonight's agenda.
Thank you. This time we'll take a motion to open to the public on agenda items. This portion of the meeting is open to citizens for comment on agenda items only. Residents are to state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person. Members of the public are discouraged from speaking negatively about an employee or a student. The board bears no responsibility for comments made by the public. Comments regarding employees and students cannot be legally responded to by the board. Other comments may be responded to tonight or at a subsequent meeting under old business. Do I have a mover?
Move.
Mr. Dano, Mr. Baxter. Anyone from the public wishing to speak?
Mr. President, seeing no one from, should I take the close?
Mr. Cal?
Exactly, sir.
Mr. Chair? Mr. President. Okay, committee reports, we have a few committees tonight. Mr. Cal?
I have 2 reports. The Technology and Safety Committee met tonight. That was myself, Mr. Battershill, and Mr. Borchardt. We spoke about district-wide technology committee goals. The main goal is to update the copy machines district-wide while minimizing the amount of copies. That it has been improving over the past couple of years, and we look forward to the copies to continue to decrease. We discussed an update of our Chromebook policy. There was updates to the website as per State Bill A 4856. The PA systems have been updated in Packanack and Preakness, and it's been integrated into the phone system. Scholar Colfax has also had their PA system updated with additional speakers and amps. It's been a multi-year plan, but the phone update, there are 3 schools remaining to be migrated into the phone system, and we are looking forward to getting that project completed. Yesterday via Zoom, the policy committee met, myself, Ms. Montek, Mr. Veloso, Ms. Clark, and Mr. Moffitt. We went over 3 policies, P0152 regarding board officers. That is going to be an ongoing discussion. We went over P0161, call, adjournment, and cancellation. It outlines the procedures for special meetings. This is basically it's an updated policy that with language, no major changes, no language changes. And P0612, notice of board meetings, all the requirements for advertising meetings, again, updating the language to mirror the law. And that is my report.
Okay. Education Committee met on January 30th. Board members present were Vita Wentic, Matt Giordano, Barbara Riglioso. Administrators and attendants were Donna Reichman and Matthew Meganelli. We went over several things. We first looked at the December 1st minutes. We then looked at policy regulations 2425, 5200, 2423, and 5512. We then moved on and discussed the implementations and working on some very exciting courses in the area of trying to make the rigor a little higher here. Multiple variable calculus, biology honors, chemistry honors. We're looking at additional enriched classes, the concept of a seal of bilaterality, and then we also discussed a little bit of the 8th grade field trip. Adding on to that, we received a list of the schools that are doing dual enrollments, including Bergen Community, Fairleigh Dickinson University, Lincoln Technical, LIM College, New Jersey Technical Institute, Passaic County Community College, Rockland Community College, Seton Hall University, and University of Northwest Ohio. The one I like most on this is where he says there will be more agreements to come. So this is not just the areas we're talking about. We're including things such as automotive technology, business classes, education, social science classes, arts and humanities, science and engineering classes that all have dual enrollments, which I'm a tremendous fan of. And that would be our report of education.
Tonight, the Finance Committee met, Mr. Pavlak, Mrs. Kazan, Mr. Moffitt, Mrs. Leidig, and Mrs. Reichman, and myself. We opened it up with questions, any questions on the agenda items, the financial reports that were December 2022, the transportation contract, other contracts and emergent checks. Mrs. Reichman presented to us some discussion on the before-after care program to be more competitive, and that registration will open up next month. There was also discussion on Preakness Early Childhood Center, before and after care possibilities. We had a department update on staffing. The administration continues to interview people for the AP manager position. We currently have an interim that will continue. We had a food service update. We also received our annual audit report with an unqualified opinion, which means it was clean. A qualified opinion would be the opposite. So I'm happy to report that. Our CPA, Kathy Mantel, will present at the next board meeting. So if anyone's interested, please attend. We also had discussion on our 2023-2024 budget. The administrators are continuing to work with the departments. Also, we're waiting on New Jersey Department of Education info on student aid, employee health benefits, and our annual solicitations went out. The typical annual solicitations went out. There will be some new solicitations for mechanical and civil engineers. And let's see. We will also review or have solicitations for all the council spots we have that will go to the full board. Also, we reviewed some grant projects about clean energy and HVAC, and there was mention that the office will be going virtual for HVAC upgrades. So,
Thank you. Right, agenda?
Move the full agenda.
Second.
Mover and second to the agenda as one item. Mr. Moffett, Mr. Field,
Second by
Mrs.
Mrs.
Kazan.
Yes, sir.
Roll call, please.
Discussion.
For discussion.
It would be nice. Just saying.
Any discussion? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure.
Mr. Bansfield.
The only thing I have is on Stay Strong.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that we've got some small incremental changes, but I still see that there's a large majority of things where there's 50% or less that are not needing any intervention at all. I think that's still something that we need to spend our time figuring out and trying to push much harder. There's a couple of really nice spots, whether I saw some numbers up around 70% and stuff like that. There's also some that are at zero, probably from small numbers. But I don't want us to gloss over the fact that I still think there's a huge amount of recovery and help that we need for some of these people, especially in some of these earlier grades and stuff as well, from what I saw in that
Sure.
presentation.
So the purpose of the start talk, as I shared, was to help identify and target those areas. And so we have intensive programs in place. We've committed a lot of our recovery funds for this purpose. And then once we have our spring comprehensive test results, which measure student learning this year, standards that was recovering after summer from last year. So we don't have a measure in place other than our local benchmarks, which are definitely indicating a lot of growth. So I'll continue to update the education committee and we'll update the full board, but the spring will be very helpful and that'll inform what the plans look like for next year and how we designate funds and design programs moving ahead.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? That's good. Roll call, Mr.
Mr. Batterfield,
Yes.
Mr. Fatal,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Mrs. Kazan,
No to T13, number 3, And yes to the rest.
Mrs. Grigaloso,
Yes.
Mr. Kisako,
Yes.
Mr. Kavler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This portion of the meeting is open to citizens for a comment on any topic. Residents are asked to state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments may be limited to 5 minutes per person. Members of the public are discouraged from speaking negatively about an employee or a student. Board bears no responsibility for comments made by the public. Comments regarding employees or students cannot be legally responded to by the board. Other comments may be responded to tonight or at a subsequent meeting under old business. Do I have a mover? Mr. Battersfield?
Second.
Mr. Vasaki? Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Nobody over?
Mr. President?
We're good.
Okay. Nobody approaching, I move to close.
Second.
All right, any old business? New business? Mrs. Gazette?
I just want to make an announcement. The Cedar Stars Academy of Wayne, also known as the Wayne Soccer Club, in cooperation with the Township Special Needs Commission, is offering, launching actually, an adaptive soccer program for children in the community with special needs. The pilot is aimed at 5 to 12-year-olds. There's no charge, by the way. You can sign up at waynenjsoccer.org. There's a Google form there. I also want to thank our facilities department because they made an effort to move around some permits to get the space for them to practice, even though it was kind of a late add-on to the program. The dates are at Schuyler on 2/13, 2/27, 3/13, and 3/27. So again, no charge to township children and 5 to 12-year-olds. So come on down. It's just another great program for our special needs community. Thank you to everyone involved. Dr. Toback, who sits on the commission, facilities, Cedar Stars Academy, who's doing this voluntarily, and they also have, just so you know, qualified paras and people who work with special needs children. So you're not throwing these kids into a gym with untrained volunteers. It's going to be a great program. Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to adjourn. Motion. Second. Thank you, everyone.